president owa NUP ono yakwata ekyokubiri kyagamba nti bamubba era ng'essaawa zino tetumanyi wa waali. Twakomyewo okumulengerako ku live Geneva ng'ali ku mukutu ali ku live ayogerako mu Geneva ng'akonjera ayina ebigambo byagamba abanene abo summit EU ng'abategeeza abagamba mwenna ensi mumanye n'ayanika gavumenti eri mu buyinza eya NRM n'abagamba buli kamu n'akabagamba. Abamu bakutte ku matama, abamu ne bawuniikirira, abamu ne bavaamu ebiyengeyenge. Bamubuuza, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu byoyogere obikakasa by'otugambye? Era Kyagulanyi akkaatiriza abagamba nti ye mbikakasa. Muzeeyi Museveni abasiba kawero ku maaso agamba bali. Kakati waliwo ge tufuna enswera zitulaga nti bammemba ba palamenti abamu ne bakansala ab'NUP bagamba tebagenda kulayira. Si bonna nkugambye ensonda zitulaga. Bakansala bammemba ba palamenti bagamba we will not be sworn in if our party leaders decide so. Fenga ffe tetujja kulayira. Abakulembeze mu pati bana tugamba temulayira tetujja kulayira. Olw'omukulembeze waffe Kyagulanyi Ssentamu NUP wetegeeza. Olw'omukulembeze abamu ku bo Shamim Nambasa ono kansala mumumanyi. Shamim Nambasa y'omu ku bo aboogera statement zino. Ategeeza agamba nti abakulembeze bana tugamba tetulayira tetujja kulayira. Kibadde kigenda kitambula kiri mu nvumbo kyogerwa mpola nti bano tebalayira. Era batandise okulaba nti kiri mu nkuubo mpola beenoonyaako mpola bagamba tukole twegatte wamu. Batandise otambuza kakuyege tetulayira ng'ennaku z'omwezi 15 omwezi ogwokutaano 2026 wakati nga tugenda kulayira abasinga ku lunaku olwo otandika okulayira tetulayira wakati nga paka Kyagulanyi ngazze paka nga tesikoma kujja kokka paka nga bawadde Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine akaddeke entebe ye NUP biri mu nkuubo. Wabula bakiddiza abakulu kye banaasalawo kyonna kye bajja okukola. Abakulu be baliwa pulezidenti waabwe wa NUP Kyagulanyi Ssentamu wakati nga tali mu makaage ali mu buwaŋŋanguse either wano mu ndufu waali. Tulina Secretary General Rubongoya naye munene. Leader of opposition Joel Ssenyonyi naye munene mu NUP. Zedriga wakati nga ali eri wakati alina emisango gy'akyalimu naye munene. Oyo deputy president Mulamba naye baamukaba. Kakati ani anaatowa order NUP n'alayira nga tebabaziiza kulayira wabula nga kivudde mu bo gali mu nkuubo. Gano genkuwa ali ku Pale FM gali mu nkuubo okategedde. Nyina na amawulire gava mu Electoral Commission abaalondesa akalulu ka General Museveni aka Kyagulanyi Ssentamu akoba president nga 15 abaka palamenti bonna abaalondesa abaasubizibwa ssente bagamba tuwabanja bassebo byabakama tukubanja byabakama weebale nnyo.
Museveni and his thugs denied their crimes. They killed our people and denied it. They tortured people and denied it. They raided our houses and denied it. General Museveni has been a smart dictator because he puts on a suit, goes to the West and to the UN, speaks very nicely about democracy and human rights, but realistically, he does not mean any of those. He talks about our so-called Human Rights Commission in Uganda, but the same person closed the UN Human Rights Office in Uganda 2 years ago because they dared to question him about his atrocities. Now that is how he has been able to maintain a facade of democracy for 40 years and counting. But now Museveni is 83 years old, and his 51-year-old son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, commands our military, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, more like Uganda's defense against his own people. And he's effectively in charge. Unlike his father, Muhoozi does not play the role of a good dictator. He openly and shamelessly says despicable things on social media. On Twitter, he openly confesses and brags about committing atrocities against the people of Uganda. When he was summoned by Parliament, he called Parliament a house of clowns and fools, and he threatened to arrest all of them. He describes judges of the Supreme Court of Uganda as clowns in wigs, and he has threatened to crush all journalists that dare to criticize his actions. In April last year, he abducted, detained, and tortured my close friend and bodyguard called Eddie Sebufu, also known as Eddie Mutwe. He later on posted on Twitter naked pictures of Eddie, boasting that Eddie Mutwe was in his basement learning Museveni's mother tongue, Unyankole. Last month, he bragged about killing 22 of my friends, and he said that he's praying that I am the 23rd person for him to kill. In other words, Museveni and his son no longer fear international retaliation for their crimes. They've been so emboldened by your lack of action. They know that they can murder their own people, imprison them, torture them, remove their fingernails, push needles down their testicles, and nothing will happen to them. Now, they're using rape as a weapon. Boys and girls, men and women, people of all ages have reported being sexually assaulted by Muhoozi's military. And it's not rare. The majority of the people that they capture and unlawfully imprison have reported being raped, whether men or women. It is no longer possible, ladies and gentlemen, for the international community to deny Museveni's violence and atrocities. It's all over social media. And today, I am talking about it to you. Now, this is our call to action. The way I see it, if the international community continues to be complacent, then Uganda will go from bad to worse. Museveni and his son's military will massacre many more innocent Ugandans. You, ladies and gentlemen, in the Western world, will be forced to grapple with millions of Ugandan refugees pouring into your countries. And maybe then, the international community will come and commiserate with the people of Uganda, just like they did after the genocide in Rwanda, but it was too late. The second option is that the international community rises to the occasion. You stand by the values that you profess, democracy and human rights. You can rein in on General Museveni and his son through targeted sanctions as well as financial and legal pressures. Ladies and gentlemen, Ugandans are not seeking for pity. Ugandans are only seeking to see the world take action against the individuals that have violated their rights for far too long. Those that have abused democracy with impunity should be the starting point. Please sanction these individuals. Sanction General Museveni. Sanction General Muhoozi. Sanction all the police and military officers that are responsible for gross human rights violations. Sanction those commanders. Sanction the judicial officers that have aided criminality through deliberately misinterpreting the law or skewing it. Those that normalize electoral fraud. Those that remand to prison suspects that should actually be sent to hospital. Sanction these individuals because their combined efforts in the last election effectively give autocracy a blank check to rule over the people of Uganda for 5 years. We call upon the international community to treat General Museveni exactly how they treated Idi Amin, because Idi Amin did what he did to Ugandans for only 8 years. Museveni has done much worse to the people of Uganda, and it has been for 40 years and counting. Because of the inaction of the international community, Museveni's mode of dictatorship and human rights violations is being seen as acceptable in the region, and it must be stopped before it is exported to other countries in the region and in the continent. We ask the international community not to recognize Museveni's regime because it is not legitimate. Please terminate any forms of cooperation with this government because he is not legitimate. On our end, as the people of Uganda, we are committed to non-violent means of changing our country, non-violent means of putting an end to this 40-year-old dictatorship. And you can be sure that the people of Uganda will sooner or later free themselves, because oppressed people cannot stay oppressed forever. With your help, friends, with the help of the international community and development partners, we can change our country. We can liberate Uganda before it is too late. I thank you for listening to me, for God and my country.
Musamiti muulira ekivuddeyo mu abeenaalemu musinika ebinnyo. Bane mbadde mutwefumbidde muzina ennaku ebbiri. Nga nnoonya ne wenywera amazzi sirabawo. European Union ekozeewo ki? Yabadde mu summit. Byayogedde byamuyambye ki? kachenjere manyoko musinika ebinyo ze kankaze mu Uganda nkabanyonyole je bayita EU European Union yasindise kiba kuntumye government ya mwami Museveni naye nga ambassador yagendo gichikirira babitebye bakoleki bulijjo muri eyo mulekana yabadde sima mu Geneva sima summit bichi yajjeyo ki kati kino njagala nkibagambe banna Uganda babe nalemu abandaba omwana wazaali bwatatambulirawo ate mugambe ne kujja no wammwe akendeeza amaanyi weba mutume ekiwaata taleeta mbazzi abaganda bali bagezi okuba jembaza the same time ne bateekawo akambe kati mujja kiwulira ambassador bamuyise abitebye e video mukulembeze waffe interview gye yawadde oba okwogera to address eriensi abasajja kwe basinzidde kati bayise ambassador wa Uganda. Imagine ambassador simu na Uganda nine basajja mmwe mujoga ambassador bamuyise abitebye omuli okutulugunya abantu okuwamba abantu okubba akalulu nga Kyagulanyi we yabyogedde kati ate ambassador ayino byegana with evidence Kyagulanyi waba nga byayogedde bifu ambassador ayino later evidence masa kulutimbe nabagamba change is coming ate bana Uganda ambasaba mu posting video ziri enkadde ezo mu kalulu nga babala akalulu bawamba abantu muzirale muzizze ennaku z'omwezi nga 23 next Monday lwetukomawo tulabe ekivuddeyo mujja kiwulira change is coming e Uganda awo mwemuloza amaanyi gegalya kyo bireekaana yavudde mu summit wavuddeyo ki